Hello and welcome to the Overton Audios podcast. My name's Connor Chadwick.
I'm Daniel Patton, and on today's podcast, we'll be looking back on previous segments for the first two volumes of Mastermind.
And then I'll be having a discussion with John and Harper about the recently released third volume of Mastermind.
Ooh, finally!
And God, I can't tell you how good it feels to actually be out. The final episode went out yesterday, and it's a bit of a surreal moment, really.
Yeah,
It's been interesting to see the feedback on it because that technically was made during an era that was it was 3.5 to 4 years ago.
it was made during a period where Prism didn't exist,
Yeah, exactly.
and there's characters on there that I have not heard from in like maybe 4 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, Devlin's in this for starters.
Yeah, and Amber's in this from Uncharted Past.
Yeah, she recorded this actually only a few months after Uncharted Past Volume 4.
Shit, oh, man, that's a time, man. That's a time.
Yeah.
So it feels like a bit of a time capsule of how things were before, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like what I have found interesting is watching people's feedback to it. Because it's not been bad. It's been mostly good, but there's been like critical feedback of it. Like a lot of people saying that they don't think that Devlin has any point being in the story.
Oh, fair.
Because he's such a surreal character in himself that having him in a story like this with so many other Prism characters, he doesn't quite fit because he does continue to, break the fourth wall.
Yeah, understandably so.
And of course, people like looking into the continuity of the character have gone, oh, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense, and all this stuff. And it's interesting because obviously it's been so long, and they were recorded so long ago. It's been really interesting to
Look
just like,
back on things like that. And
yeah,
is
and
it?
it's the only volume of what we've done of Mastermind which is so heavily connected with so many people in continuity.
Yeah, like it's Torchwood, Uncharted Past, Crimson Hunter stuff as well.
Mm.
It's just it interconnects like a lot of things together and really crosses over a lot of those things. I'll need to listen to it. Sorry, it's my Adobe saying I need to update it.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
Oh, sorry, there was a
Oh, fair.
but yeah, it's definitely an interesting one because it's definitely like a lot of things that are in volume three. I don't think necessarily we would do nowadays. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like so it's weird. It's sort of like the last of that era before we changed a lot of the regime over.
Well, yeah, I had to. The edits got done about 2 years ago, and I had to sit down and listen to it and cut any references to anything pre-Prism.
Yeah, like I know
Uh,
like some things like I think even some characters had to be cut out just to be make sure continuity was kept.
yes, there was more references than characters, but there were some that made reference to specific events that I had to cut their lines.
Yeah, because
Um,
like yeah, exactly.
but nonetheless, it's nice to have it out finally. It just feels like a weird. It's like this has not like it's been in production for so long. It's one of those things where you don't really consider it coming out sometimes because of how long it's been done and sorted and been kind of like sat on your shoulders, um, leaning down.
It's
But
just
it's
sort of like been like like sort of braving down your neck, just sort of like when's it coming out? When's it coming out? When's it coming out?
yeah, exactly,
There had to be
exactly.
so many. There's so many things. I think like you said before, like clandestine was like a big reason they couldn't come out because clandestine was still getting released and still being made.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And you got to think as well that this story, which obviously features Torchwood characters, um, it came out when only the first volume had been written of the Torchwood stories as well.
Yeah, no,
So yeah, there was a lot of annoyances that James Sutton and Eamon Longman had um, because they'd committed to stuff really early on, and now all of a sudden they're like, "Oh no, we don't want to do that anymore." And I'm like, "Well, you have to now. You've made Mastermind."
Yeah, I think it's what there's like other things. There were like so many committed stuff that we said at the time, but hadn't came into fruition. But then suddenly now we had this volume that concreted it, but now we couldn't go back on things.
Yeah, no, you're completely right there.
Yeah, like there's a certain element of Mastermind Volume 3 that I'm sort of concrete, and I'm like, I'm gonna have to address that at some point.
Oh, don't worry. Some people have already asked me a couple of questions.
Yeah, I know which part it is.
Yeah, yeah, I've just gone ooh, and then moved on very
Yeah,
quickly.
as I will as well, I will ooh and move on.
Yes, indeed, indeed, so indeed. Now, one of the things we haven't actually spoken about, so is how are you?
Me, oh, it's been a tiring month, my friend. I
Oh,
start my new job very soon. I'm very much
have you still not started it? I thought.
no, because the company I work for had an audit and they had to pause on recruitment for a wee while, so that meant a
Right.
2 week delay on my induction, and that has been that was a bit of it was a bit of a jab because it took ages to get back to me about an offer anyway. So it's just sort of like, oh well. But I start this week, so thank God for that. I finally started the
I
job.
was gonna say, yeah, wow.
Yeah, but in that time, I just got loads of editing done and loads of other things done around the house. So it's been good. It's been the first time in a very long time I've had a dedicated month just entirely to focus on stuff that I want to get done.
Oh, that's good, sir.
So it was actually very nice and very sort of, we'll say sort of what's the word?
Therapeutic.
Therapeutic. Yeah, it was a very mindful experience.
Well, that's the thing because you help out me so much with with the podcast, well, not just the podcast, but also the cover arts.
Yeah, but
That
even then, this has been a quiet month in terms of that front as well. Like, there's not many covers ready need to be done because I got loads of them done already.
yeah, no, that's completely right. Yeah, it's yeah. So it's enabled you to not have anything kind of on your plate, so to speak.
Yeah, so I was able to just like I got through all the footage we shot
Mm.
whilst you and Abby and Chelsea were over for filming.
Yes, indeed. Yeah,
So
this
I finally was able to edit all that footage because we did it was a lot of footage. It was a lot
yeah.
of footage. Not going to go into it, but it was a lot.
Yeah, well, that's a good point to mention as well. Our we did our special 5 year podcast
We
between
did, yes, 5 years.
between what you might call the last ordinary podcast. We did a little special 5 year one where we answered the same questions that we got in the Q&A, which one of them was, "What did you think of Series 13?" And I was like, "Oh dear. Well, we'll have to guess what we think about Series 15, which of course is airing. We're about halfway through the series right now."
So far, so good, in my opinion.
Yes, it's been very strong so far. Very,
But
very.
yeah, that was interesting because like that was not just the 5 year podcast, that was the 60th episode of the podcast.
Yes, exactly. So if people miss that one, we've gone from podcast 59 to 61, which is a very odd one. But speaking of um, looking back, as we have done with the podcast in the 5 years, shall we have a little look back to Mastermind and where we talked about previous volumes and stories that have come out?
Sounds like a good plan to me, sir. Let's roll it.
Overton Audios presents.
There's this old house on the hill. Some kids said it's haunted by the ghost of something that happened before the peace wall went up.
Ah, the house on the hill. I've heard of it.
They say before the peace wall went up, there was a man who ruled half the universe. His subjects rebelled against him and killed him, burying him on the hill. The house was built there to make sure no one dug up his grave.
How about some adventure, Peggy?
What was that?
It sounded like a scream.
Well, I've got that far.
Who is the master?
The story is not fake, just told too early. I am the ruler of the universe, and you are my loyal subjects.
No! Stay with me! Stay with me, please!
My son's made a stupid decision again. He's gone up the hill with a few friends.
My word, that's not good at all.
Mastermind, the man on the hill. coming the 9th of October 2021 at 12 p.m. And welcome back to the podcast. Here I am with John and Harper.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm all good. So, something that we've been talking about. I can't remember how long we've been talking about Mastermind, but it was something that crossed our minds, or at least I think it started with you initially.
Yeah, I think it was probably around late 2019 because we'd done like General Marsh. We did 2 volumes of that, and then we were like, "Yeah, this is fun." But then we were like, "We can't really add any more to the General Marsh saga or whatever."
Yeah, there
because it was
were
getting.
talks about doing a volume 3 set in like his
Mm,
Gallifrey General, Time Lord General days.
yeah,
But
we thought maybe we could do a War Master with it, how they sort of went back and did more adventures. But then we were sort of like, maybe not, because there
no,
wouldn't be much
it was a
point.
case of we kind of closed that metaphorical book. We just sort of said, well, we've done that story now, we've closed it. Why would we go back? It makes sense. So I think that's where it came from. I know that it changed a lot. It was a 10, I think it was a 10-part originally, and then or 6-part, and then it became a 10-part. Then because it was then pitched to be 2 volumes of 5 episodes, and it was like, why don't we do it as a series? And then it became 10 episodes. Then went back to 6, became 3. Then nothing happened, so we made it 1. Then it went back to 3. Then it became 1, and then 1 episode to be released earlier as a pilot, and then 2 episodes afterwards. And then it just went back and forth, didn't it?
Yeah, it's we didn't really have much goals with what we were doing. We were just sort of like, we want to make more Master Adventures, and we kind of want to make them like, set after Series 4, right?
Yeah.
So, we want to have it all come after that. And we were just a bit like, what should we do? Should we just do a full-on series and just say, yep, that's our 6 episodes or 10 episodes, whatever we're feeling. And then we were just like, maybe we should just put a pilot out first, just like a nice little adventure, just saying, hey, look, yeah, the Master's still doing shenanigans. You look forward to more in the future.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, because this story, it opens with that last scene of the Master in Doctor Who Resurrection season 4, where, I mean, spoilers for the series 4 finale if you've not heard it, but basically it's when the Master's been knocked out and the Guardians of Time take him away for punishment for helping the villain who was the Black Guardian. So it's sort of answering the question of what did they do to him and where did he go, and then also just a story about him dealing with the punishment he's been handed out. So the story's called The Man on the Hill. Essentially, the Master's not really the main character, which I quite like. He's kind of like this.
Yeah, it is very much like can't remember what the episode's called. The one with the Ood, who's like, you have a call.
Sorry, you're talking about War Master Volume 2?
2. Yeah, it's the opener for that, I think. It reminds me of that because the Master is well, he's just a friendly bloke, isn't he? Like there's a minute when he's in the shop, isn't he? And he's talking about his family or whatever. But
are we talking about War Master or Mastermind now? We're talking about Mastermind. Yeah, because you asked for a bag of licorice or something.
Yeah, I know, a bag of
licorice.
But
essentially the main characters are actually 4 school kids.
Yeah, and then the Master does bad things.
Oh yeah, as he does. But like it's following them on a human colony. There's like a kind of a Halloween kind of style thing called Almween. They've also got a peace wall, which means that nothing bad can ever happen. There's no like, it basically is a controlled environment where
I'm hearing a lot of clicking on your end.
Oh right, okay, don't know why, but basically. It's a controlled environment where there's no chaos or anything like that.
Yeah. For the most part, when it comes to this, it was just nice to have a nice little adventure. I'm hearing lots of dings from your end as well.
I know, I don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, I'm being contacted in every form. It's like, it's been 3 hours. You could have contacted me in that time.
It always happens. Every single time we go to record something, we'll be like mid-conversation on the recording, and then it just goes ba-ding, and we're just like, oh, for the love of God. But yeah, anyway, so the Mastermind series, we thought, well, we'll set off on like a little opener just to say, yeah, here is his adventures, here's what he's doing. We've got this sort of set up to further explore, because we just thought we don't really want to commit to a volume just yet.
No.
And this was written ages and ages ago, so we
Yeah,
wanted
well,
to sort of
actually,
say,
it was written by Eamon Longman,
hmm,
and this is actually a string of multiple scripts he wrote up to a year ago, but he's written them in almost reverse order. The first one he wrote was an audio book for Remembrance 2, which I think you read out.
yeah, it took me an hour and 10 minutes, but I
Yep.
got there in the end.
Yeah, and then he's written an episode for Crimson Hunter Volume 2, which shouldn't be I mean, I've already announced it, but like
Spoilers.
and then he's and now he's written this. It's just sort of worked its way back. So even though this is the first one of his scripts to be released as a finished story, it is actually the latest one.
Yeah, I do find it it was a very nice story. There was a very funny comment about Bustin, which I won't even I won't even I'll let you listen to that. Yeah. And I remember, because you sent me the audio not too long ago, because I wanted to re-listen to it before you got into the podcast, because usually I have no idea what we're talking about when we do.
Well, I mean, we made it up to 6 months ago. So
yeah,
it was we've done so many other things since. We need to remind ourselves.
Yeah, so I listened to it, and I remember just hearing that. It's like, oh my god, because it took me aback. I was like, oh my god, I didn't realize. I forgot that was what happened. But I mean, it was funny though, and also it's a nice. Yeah, it's a nice little adventure. Like it's got like, I like the mischievousness that the master has. There is a nice little moment at the end I do love. You're just like, oh yes, that is the master.
You were really enjoying it, I know, because what's interesting is that I think we both said this to one another before, but I don't think it's ever been said in the podcast or anywhere sort of else. But your master hasn't been the master for very long. And what I mean, but even though like you've been playing the master now since 2018, you were playing General Marsh, who was once the master, and is now the master again. So you were playing a very troubled man who has this insanely dark past, but was trying to move forward from it. And we've made General Marsh.
Yeah. I mean, this master.
And then in Transcendence, where you reappear, you're still a mixture of both. Like, you've like the whole story was basically that you have Callum Baird's master from the Northern Doctor's era being the true as master as you can get, and then you have Kerrion, who was playing the original General Marsh just before you, who was pure of heart, and then you have you in the middle, who's just like, I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah.
But now with Series 4, even then you were still working with, like, the master was still working with people, whereas this is just the master. It's as
I generally think that with this master, I do love the sort of development, because overall, it's he starts as someone who's coming off from the fact that his previous self spent his entire life as General Marsh, and then you've got this incarnation who's struggling to really maintain that. And then because he's still a psychopath, so he's a bit and we see his relationship with his son, and then when his son dies, that is what breaks him. Spoiler alert for the end of series 2. But but
we know already that from the latest Torchwood release that he didn't. But the master, if you think about it, the master never sees him live either.
Yeah, he just also he sees his death, and that's what really like sets him off for the most part. And then I love the fact that when we see the master here, he's up to his old tricks, because he has snapped. He's gone. He
is the classic master we all know and love, but he's but also does abhorrent things.
Yeah, he does some horrifically.
I will say it's one of my favorite audios I've edited as of late, because, like, whereas in like normal Doctor Who stories, you have the Doctor saving the day or anything like that, you've got the master doing awful things to get his way. Like, sure, the story may be resolved by the end of it, but it's not done in a very pure sort of way. There's a lot of things that are very harsh and
well, as I said earlier, the word I used was abhorrent, horrifying things he has to do to get his own way, which hurt people but empower him, and he just loves it. So it was a lot of sort of devilish fun, because I have to say as well, your performance was incredible as well.
Oh, that's nice.
You were loving it. I could you were like, between each take, you were just laughing, going, "I'm absolutely loving this."
Yeah, there are moments like there's a minute where I'm in a spacey wasty ship, and I'm like laughing my heads off, like ha 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 ha, I've succeeded in my plans, and I love that because it's amazing because I don't know, he's a character who is ruled by his ego, and he's a character also who is defined by his benevolent nature, that I am better than you stupid humans. Like he is someone who generally believes that he is better than everyone else. So to have his character spend all this time for whatever reason, which I won't get into obviously because that would spoil it, in this particular place, it's amazing because he's sort of like you realize how rewarding hurting people is for him, and so I love that fact about him, that he's just that he does get off on basically hurting people. Not that I like that myself, I must add, but in terms of character,
no, but
I love that about his
it's
character.
fun to play, because as human beings in a society, we have to kind of conform with the. I mean, this is going to get really weird.
Oh yes,
but
very
basically,
unfortunately.
it's a chance to have a bit of mischievous with it, like a bit of mischievous sort of side with a role. Things you would never do in real life.
I've always wanted to kill someone. I'll be telling you that now. But
oh right, well no, but you get you get my point. It's like with the Master, he does so many different things that you'd never do, but it is kind of a little bit fun because it's all make believe to kind of explore that side of things.
I'm the Master, and I will shoot you in the face. It's always something that's
his catchphrase.
And I will shoot you in the face. It's not you will obey me. It is I will shoot you in the face. But when it comes to the Master, I don't know. I just love it. And the main thing I enjoy about all of this is that Overton Audios as a whole is just a lovely playground to just create we'll just take these wonderful scripts that people write in. Like this guy, he literally just messaged you saying, I've got some story ideas, and here he is writing for the Master.
Well, once again, this is another classic example of when we released the first podcast, where I literally just made an open call saying, if you want to write something, just message. And Eamon was one of those people. I get love that. I get emails now. I don't know how people have found my email. It's not even it's not a personal email. I mean,
it's on your Overton Audios email.
Yeah, which of course, I mean, it's not difficult to find either. You just change each email domain until you get the right one. I get those emails, people asking, how can I be a part of this, etc. And that's really, really very heartwarming.
It's really weird because normally obviously if we were properly in the actual industry, we wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't be able to have people sending these things in, because that's what I love about the small community that listens to these audios, is that they can email you or anyone involved and just say, hey, I was wondering, can I get involved, can I do this, can I do that? And 9 times out of 10 they can, unless they are somehow I don't know, unless the world has gone to crap, then mostly they're going to be able to do things with this, because I love this sense of community and being able to allow fans to sort of say, hey, this is my work for the audios, this is a nice breeding ground for writers, and I love that. And also it's amazing because sometimes I get text messages on Messenger because people I would assume stalk me on my Facebook, and then they message me saying, hi, I listened to this so and so, and I listened to this. Oh, I heard you doing the Daleks, and it does really make my day, because I'm like, oh crap, you actually listened to that. You took time out of your day to go listen to that. And people say, I really enjoy these stories. And then sometimes people bring up my stuff. Sometimes people bring up something that I did 3 years ago that I can't even remember. That's not even Overton Audios related, and I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that's nice. And it does warm my heart that this thankfully is part of a very, very just friendly community. Obviously not all the time. I mean, you can cut this out if you want to, but about all the things on
Are we going
Twitter.
there? Are we? We're going to go
Yeah,
there.
I just realized about the whole Twitter thing. I was saying, yeah, it's a friendly community, and then I was like, wait a minute, no, hold on.
No,
But yeah,
in the nutshell, just so we're explaining everything, we're referencing the abusive nature of the messages aimed at DW 2012 that were done on the community show.
Yeah.
As of recording, this was only a day or two ago.
Yeah.
Which, of course, I mean, it's fine to talk about it because I think we've not really referenced in the podcast at all any of the stuff that's come out over the last or this year so far in terms of the Doctor Who community. I've obviously regarding because there have been people who were once a part of the DW 2012 group who have been outed for these sort of things as well, and we've all cut contact and been very open and forthcoming and speaking with victims and everything.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, yeah, the point is that there are, we obviously all try and focus on what that the show represents: positivity, kindness, acceptance, and understanding. And there are always going to be people out there who just are selfish about it. Like there's always, we know there are fans out there who
there are some really
feel like they're
just,
entitled
disgusting
to
people.
something.
Yeah, there are some disgusting people out there that just seem to think that someone who enjoys making something owes you something, or potentially that because you have this, like, people are aware of your existence, because DW 2012 has been here around for a long time, and I don't know many people who don't know of the fan series, and so people assume that because you have this awareness that you have this sort of, like, they think that because you make things and you are known, that you don't see these messages and that it's all just a laugh. But no, I'll be completely honest, I see pretty much, if I can see every single horrific thing that people have said about DW 2012 and anything else related to it, even in Doctor Who, then you can bet that people like Luke Newman and everyone who actually filmed that have seen it as well. Because it's not like we're these benevolent gods, or anyone is. We're still human beings. We all live, well, majority of us live in the UK. And well, you know, it's
Well, that's the thing is,
it.
I've been lucky enough with the amount of content that I've been making. I'm surprised that I haven't received any, like, I mean, as of recently, I have been a little bit nervous when I get an email going a new comment on doing, oh, I hope this is a good
hope that it's not like,
because there have been some comments that have been on some older releases that we've done that I thought, well, that's really obscure. Where's that comment come from? And it's from a YouTube, like a YouTube user that I'm not familiar with or I'm aware of, and it's always positive. So I'm really grateful for the positivity that I've received.
Yeah, audio is much nicher in terms of like the fandom, because it's getting much more popular. Like, I don't know if you're like recently the Big Finish trailers for all their releases have been getting scarily close to the show. So I'm starting to think if the guy who makes the the team who make the visual effects for the show are actually making the trailers for Big Finish, because they are phenomenal. It's like PlayStation 5 sometimes. Like, I'm like, oh my god, when I see the Ninth Doctor's TARDIS rejuvenate itself is amazing. But anyway, so when it comes to, you know, the fandom and all these things, like, I get a lot of positivity, but then I've also been a part of some very toxic fan groups, which, if you actually look at some releases, there are periods of time where you see just a load of stuff be disliked, and then suddenly there's a nice period, and then there's another period of people just disliking things, because unfortunately I've had a massive run-in with loads of toxic fan groups, and I've had the misfortune of just people like mass disliking it because they think it's funny, or just simply because they're spiteful.
You and I kind of, I don't think this is the place or the platform to out them here, but like we've had like a fellow voice actor who we've been told about in advance by others that have been acting quite toxic with other people. And of course, we've been made aware of that, and we're not going to use them in any future audios. But of course, it's one of those awkward situations as well where you can't out someone on someone else's behalf, if you know what I mean. Like you want, the whole point is that you don't take away that choice from the people who are affected by it, because then you're doing the same thing.
You know, it's sort of like, don't fight a fight that isn't yours, especially if the person who's You know,
Yeah, exactly.
it's sort of like that.
Yeah,
Also,
whilst we can be there and support, and support the people who have who feel this way about things, and about experiences, we're not going to speak on behalf of them because we take away the control that they have over the situation, which isn't fair.
Yeah, that isn't fair. Also, you can cut this out, but who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Brianna.
Oh yes, okay, good.
Yeah,
cut this out, future chatters. Be careful.
Cut it out! We have to peak the audio, so I'm like, what the fuck's that? Cut!
There we go. Now you know that when that sound happens, you know.
Yeah, I'll just listen to that and go, what's that peaking? And tap it and go, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'll listen to it and go, oh, right, okay, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. Anyway, but yeah, essentially, we want to be supportive of people, and that's what we try and do. And I like to think we do. And I think that's the whole point of the community.
Yeah, I absolutely, it does feel so nice just to be part of it, because like I love the sense of community, how everyone's just sort of willing to help. There are times when like you'll get the odd person who just like, this is one thing that does like annoy me, and that you've had issues with this, where someone will say, they'll go like, hey, do you have anything for me? I would like to help you. Then you get back to them and then they never reply. You know?
Yeah, but that's kind of natural. So at first it would really get to me, but now it will just be a case of, you know, circumstances happen. You know, they may be feeling like that in the moment because they might be bored there and then. When I get back to them, I'm going to be able to get back to them when I'm free, which of course, as you know, I rarely am now. I'm either working, or I'm editing, or I am sleeping.
Yes.
You
only do those three things.
Yeah, was this our third or fourth attempt to organise a time to record this? Yeah,
we wanted to record it 4 days ago, and then we just never did.
Yeah, and then it was meant to be 3 days ago, and then it was yesterday, and now today.
Yeah, it's you know, I was hassling you because we nice to get this recorded.
Because I need to, the problem is, of course, I'm so busy, but then I leave it too late, and when I struggle to edit it.
Yeah.
The whole podcast. I've got to edit the podcast as well, and I'm like, well, I've got all these other audios to make and write, and then I've got the podcast. And it's like,
yeah, I'm much more chill with these things. I've actually started removing the dates for things on my schedule. I'm going to probably be changing the schedule up so where it's just a long stream of projects, because I'll only put the dates when the project is done, because I like the idea of a project being there so I can mark its progress. Okay, so this is recorded, and I have like a set date in my head. But if it's fixed in front of me on the screen, it's debilitating.
Well, that's the same with me. As you know, like 2019 and 2020 were like insane.
Very busy years.
They were insane for my release schedules. Whereas then 2021 took a bit of a quieter turn, slowly but surely. But now I've gone for the next year's schedule, 2022. Everything is weekly rather than happening all in one day. Like, because those were the releases that, if you remember, like this year, I was stuck basically in the 2021 schedule for about 4 months of this year because of the releases that were happening all in one day. And as a result, so much work was being put into it. And then it was happening so quickly and being released so quickly. The time, you know what I mean? Like the ratio of time spent to time released wasn't matching. So
yeah, like at that point, I was doing exams and stuff like that, obviously, which got cancelled. But so I couldn't really listen to that much. And so I actually spent most of 2020 catching up with all the releases, because they were releasing they were releasing bi-weekly. You'd have something on Wednesday, something on Saturday, and it was getting crazy.
You had good management of it, because you had Dark Legends Series 1 Part 1 in the first half.
Oh no, that was Series 2.
Oh, sorry. Then you had that in 2019, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
In the middle of that, I think you had Limbo, and I think that was it. I think it was just Limbo. Maybe one other thing, like Sheldon was 2018, I think.
Yeah, Sheldon was 2018, but I re-uploaded it onto YouTube because I was like, I'm not really planning on doing any other big projects.
But then you had something nice to break it up, and then you had Part 2, and even then you were still editing them like hours before release.
Yeah, he was getting to, because the thing is, like, I'm not someone who can make all of that, because I don't have all the people in the world, and I tend to write them on my own. So for the most part, like, I would like to get other people involved. There are plenty of things that'd be like, oh, that'd be nice if someone else wrote that. Yeah. But then I've become a lot more protective of just what I'm doing, and I enjoy making these projects. But when I was making series 1 of Dark Legends, it was really stressful because it took me 6 months to make it because I didn't make any of it in advance. I didn't know what I was doing. I would like to revisit that and actually make it how I wanted to at the time, because there were a lot of changes and just things I wasn't really happy with. And also, you can't hear the first 5 episodes. Like, I've joked about this so many times, but you can't hear them. Like, it's just me going.
I'll always remember that the way that the first episode starts, and it's not even words for me. It's just all you hear is
Yeah, it really is.
and then you just hear the TARDIS setting off, and even the TARDIS you can barely hear. You're like, what on earth did you do to that sound effect?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what I was doing. I think I put too much
made it
echo
so
on everything.
bassy. You made it so bassy and echoey that it was just like, and you're like, that's not the TARDIS. What are you talking?
Yeah, it's just like, but yeah.
Oh, God.
I don't know what that sound was. I think I turned into a time machine.
Yeah. But anyway, we should probably try and redirect this to
Mastermind. Yes.
Mastermind.
Yeah.
The special is, when is it going to be out? I don't know. I closed the release schedule because of all the noises my computer was making. I believe it's coming out on the 9th of October. If
My
not,
word.
I will recorrect myself with Dan. If not, then there you go. It's
All
coming out on
whole
9th of
days before my
October.
birthday, I must add.
Yeah, it's all very good. I think
Yes.
you wanted it out on your birthday originally. And
I
said,
wanted
no.
it out on my birthday, but then you were like, no, fuck you.
It's like, no, thank you. You will not be ruining my schedule today.
But no, like I don't know. I don't really care. It's around that time, so it'll be an early present. But you know, it's nice because I do want to hear people's thoughts. Comment down below. Obviously, this is a bit early, but still, comment down below when you've heard it. Come back to this podcast episode when you've listened to it and comment the same things you commented on that episode, because then it will raise awareness for this channel. Because apparently that's how the YouTube algorithm works.
Yay!
Yay! But yeah, for the most part, I love playing these characters. I love playing Andrew Pierce. I love playing the Daleks and Cybermen. As insecure I am about those voices, I love it. It's great because then, I don't know, I do get messages, and yeah, I love it. It's just like, oh, hello, thank you, nice words.
It's funny because there are even cases where you've done Dalek voices for fan films and just forgotten to ever mention it, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing a release of a fan audio, and it's like, and John and Harper as the Daleks. I'm like, John?
Yeah, because a lot of these things, like I've actually done so many things, and I forget how much I've actually recorded for, because I'm in so many of your projects. I'm pretty much, I don't think there's anything other than maybe Baby on Board that I am not in. Like it's getting to that point now. But then, you know, I'm also in like a lot of other people's projects that I can't even remember. Like I'm in so many like audios and films, some of which don't even exist because they've either been deleted since or they just haven't been made. Like I know that for sure. But then, you know, I don't really care. I'm glad to be of service to the fandom. And I just love it so much, and it means so much to me. Like if I somehow in the next 10 years get to be involved in the actual show, I'll try my hardest to make sure I'm still available for the fandom, because a fandom is such a great thing, and I think that the show probably needs to be a bit more communicative with the fandom, because I love that connectivity.
Well, it's like the same thing with for example, you know, my friend Benji, who works at Big Finish. He's one of
He's Davros.
Yeah, he's played Davros in some of my audios, and a lot of people are like, oh, you know Benji? I'm like, I've actually pretty much known him for 8 years now.
It is weird though, because like I hear him doing like the Davros lines, then I go off to listen to the Big Finish podcast. I'm like, oh, it's him.
He does even then in the podcast, he does some of the Davros lines. You can hear him whenever like they were talking about Time War 4 or something. He'd do the Davros lines, but without the effect on them, and it's just like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird, but it's cool. It's again like that's the leading back to the whole fact of I love it when, because you got Chris Walker Thompson, right?
Yes, he played the Don in Trying the Universe, and then because Chris and Benji have known each other since school. They didn't go to school together, but like that's probably the weird wording of it. But they were both at school at different schools when they met.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They made old fan films together as well. It's like it goes to show that, you know, the dream is accessible.
Yeah, a lot of things like it's a lot of fans who have made for the fandom in their respective eras all go on to do Doctor Who things in the actual show, like Nicholas Briggs. Shall we mention the audio visuals? Shall we?
Let's
Love
not go
those
down
things.
that rabbit hole.
But every single fan who has made stuff in their respective zones of time eventually end up making something with the show. So that'd be very exciting. I don't know if that is going to happen, but I might be dead. But either way.
Okay, good. All right, I think we'll end it there. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
anyway.
thank you very much, John. Again, Mastermind will be out on the 9th of October.
Oh.
And you'll get to hear John in all of his masterness.
My masterness, yes. Yeah, bye.
Great.
Overton Audios presents Time to Get My Revenge. Call me by my real name.
What?
Master. I am the Master. And I took a chance. A simple chance, and what I did was close my eyes and keep on walking. You think it's simple magic and folklore that led everyone you knew to their deaths? No, this was a situation of my creation.
What the hell are you doing here? This was my kill.
We are technically the same person.
Why should I talk to you?
Because you value your life.
No, that's David! My best mate! No. It's definitely him.
Look at this place. So much destruction.
I know. It's beautiful.
I'm Stephen McMillan, head of the village. And you?
Just call me Old MacDonald.
Mastermind Volume 1. Coming the 7th of May 2022 at 12 p.m.
War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
And that was the trailer for Mastermind Volume 1. And here I am with, it's not just me, it's Dan too, talking to John and Harper. Hello, John.
Hi. Hi guys, I'm here.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm great. It's been a good amount of time doing my FMP for college. It's very slow. I'm doing the topic is of education, so it's not thrilling, but I'm doing okay.
Oh, well, that's good. Is this you trying to predict what it's going to be like when this podcast is out?
Yeah, I'm predicting because this is probably 3 weeks before I have to submit my work. So when this comes out anyway. So yeah. I hope that I haven't had a mental breakdown yet.
Yeah, well, yeah, you never know.
The likelihood of this podcast aging well is very unlikely, my friend.
Mm. Yeah, I saw a statistic somewhere saying that the amount of anxiety that students are currently experiencing in education, the same anxiety levels that mental patients were experiencing in the 1950s at certain asylums.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Isn't there a thing where a high amount of percentage of statistics are made up?
Oh, that was spot on. After I've given off potentially an interesting discussion point, you've gone, yes, but it could also be fake.
You're telling me there's a statistic that says some statistics are false, but who's to say that statistic is correct?
Yeah. The paradox.
The paradox. But yeah, Mastermind.
Yes, so this is actually happening immediately. This volume starts immediately after the special episode that's already come out, The Man on the Hill.
Mm.
I really like, I know we're meant to be talking about Volume 1, but I really loved the way that The Man on the Hill turned out.
I'll be honest, Eamon is my favourite writer for the Master. I love the way he writes for the Master. And I think people are definitely in for a treat for where the Master goes through Volume 1. I wrote 2 episodes of it, the last 2. And
would it also help if you knew that Eamon hasn't written a single episode for Volume 1?
Wait, what?
Me and Dan wrote episode 1, and then you've written 2 and 3.
I thought he wrote an episode. Oh wait, no, it's because okay. Cut
You're
this out.
talking
because-
about the future.
Cut it out.
I won't. I won't.
Won't.
No, I
we
mean,
haven't announced it yet.
It's already public knowledge. It's already
Wait, is it
public.
already? I don't know what you've already said, so I'm trying to be ambiguous.
Eamon's already talked about Volume 2.
Okay, so yeah, basically the reason I said that is because he's written Volume 2.
Yeah, that's what we've been working on recently.
That's why I'm a bit frazzled. Sorry.
No, all good. Volume 1, Dan initially started writing it. It was called At Universe's End, which is where you have the return, which of course a lot of people have pointed out from the cover art, that the Irish Master is back.
Yes.
Yeah, and oh my god, I can't wait for people to listen to the episode. Okay, now it's coming back to me. Yeah, I can't wait for people to listen to the episode because the dynamic between both masters is very interesting. One annoys the other, but I do like the fact that I do like the way that it's written because they're still like 2 facets of the same person, as every iteration of the same character should be. But I like the sort of banter both characters have, if you know what I mean.
And like the sort of sense of they're both the same person and they think they're the superior one.
Exactly. They hate each other, but because of the Master, they're kind of narcissistic.
Yeah, like they hate each other because they're both trying to be better than the other because of who the Master is and how they think.
Yeah, and it's weird because they they both they're the same character, but because they're so far apart in terms of time, they've got slightly different moral compasses. But it's really nice to hear.
Yeah, that does show in this episode, especially for the Universe's End, because you see how they have very 2 different tactics about how to take. Well, they have the very same tactic about what they plan on doing, but they're what was it like but the way each master does is very unique to themselves. So it does show they think the same, but they do it in very different ways.
Yeah, because they think the same, they hate each other for it because they know what they're going to do. They can predict each other's movements, but because they want different things, they're constantly trying to sort of outwit each other in that way.
Yeah, I think I pitched Connor this. I sort of just told him that I had this really funny idea of the Master just trying to one up one another, trying to fail each other's ideas just because of petty jealousy, which incarnation is the best.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's low-key in the main structure of this episode.
Yeah, and but then of course we've got to talk about the 2-parter that it's kind of like a loose 2-parter. I mean, they are in the same place, but they're very sort of 2 different sides of the story, which is your episodes 2 and 3 of Volume 1. That being what's it called? It's Old MacDonald and the bodies in the water.
Yeah, and a lot of people who are interested in creepypasta and SCP will recognize the title "Bodies in the Water." Both episodes take inspiration loosely because the actual SCP is SCP-2316, I think. But it's called Bodies in the Water, and it's meant to be these sort of floating corpses, and it sounds very dark, it sounds horrific, but that.
But that's why when it's. I mean, I know we make jokes about it, but it's why it's suited to you.
Yeah, because I'm sorry. I'm still sorry, Dan, about what I did to Nathan.
I think Callum is still going through therapy after what he read, man.
no, but when it comes to,
I want to take this opportunity to discuss something. I asked John very nicely, stop torturing Nathan, for the love of God. The man lost his mother, and you are torturing him at every point you can.
It was specifically waterboarding, wasn't it?
Yes.
You specifically said stop waterboarding Nathan, and then when I sent you the script,
he goes through other horrific things. And he's like, I thought you said you stopped torturing him. It's like, no, you said stop waterboarding him. There's a difference there.
Poisoning him with age-old, decades-old biscuits is fine.
Yeah. Bear in mind, by the way, he got a drill in the arm, and then was force fed moldy biscuits. And
I forgot about the drill.
yeah.
I genuinely don't think the drill ever made contact with him. I think it was just the psychological trauma.
Oh, okay. I know that there was what I know that there were some characters who've been drilled in the head by the droid, Oscar droid.
Yeah.
But I could have sworn he got like physically harmed in some shape or form. It doesn't sound like you not to do it.
Yeah, he probably did, to be honest. I mean, I can't remember. I haven't listened to it in a while. In fact, I might re-listen to it now once we've done this. But yeah, Bodies in the Water, like the SCP, go up and read it because you'll get a nice little taster of kind of the idea I'm going with. Again, it's loosely adapted because I'm not going to like rip it off, but I really like SCP and I like taking inspirations from the creatures that are created because it's all user created. Like they're all different people and there are thousands of them created by people all over the planet, and I love it.
But you've also what you've done with it as well, which is something that I think's great for you as well. Like I think I've said this to you countless times, not just on this podcast, which I'm about to, but which is you always like period dramas, but you always have this really interesting and amazing way of adding a sort of dark gothic feel. So as a result, when you listen to At Universe's End, it's very high concept sci-fi, and you go to this and
very grounded in reality.
Really is, yeah. It's very much like you like the Masters blending into society. I mean, to be honest, what I would say certainly about it, and you've listened to it recently, and you remembered that I got certain characters to say certain things. It's a very mature story, but it does bring up. It does also bring up the tone. Like it's accurate to the time, is what I'll say. Because obviously,
I'll say two things. Like, sorry, carry on.
No, but I was just saying that it's very accurate to the times with certain characters having prejudice against particular people.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say two things. Like my like the way I style the episodes that I've written for Mastermind, and more recently the things that I like writing for myself, is I take a lot of inspiration from like Doctor Who season 7 with Third Doctor, where everything was grounded in reality. The Doctor didn't have a TARDIS. Obviously, the Master has his TARDIS in the story, but
it's rarely seen.
It's rarely seen. I think it only appears in like one scene. But basically, like the Third Doctor, he's on Earth and he's mingling around with all these humans that he doesn't particularly enjoy doing, but he has a purpose to it, a malicious one, obviously, because it's the Master.
Yeah,
and I'll also say that what I like about writing with the Master is that because I know that I'm playing him, I know exactly how I want him to act around them, and so I love being able to just sort of create the most dark, literally like the darkest version of me, and I love that.
Well, yeah, it gives a nice element of play. Like when you like with any actor, they say, "Oh yes, I'd love to play a villain." it's that element of like with the other characters you've played before for me, like in Time Traveler, and obviously
where I said I was the most human I've ever been.
Yes, but then you've also got.
Oh no, that was the other one, wasn't it?
On the Scene.
Yeah, On the Scene. Yeah,
Darren Kelly. Yeah, you've got that, but then obviously you've got sort of anti-hero qualities in certain characters, but everyone kind of believes that their own hero, but in a way, we're all anti-heroes, really. But to play a proper villain is just something unique and something a little bit more mischievous to do. So it makes complete sense when you're looking at it, going, yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing to do is play with characters, and I tried to build them up because they're two like 25-minute episodes or something like that, or 20-minute episodes.
Roughly that.
Yeah, so they're fairly short, but I tried to put more focus on the characters in this story. You'll find there's like an entire family that you were ripping your hairs out over casting because a lot of them don't talk that much, but they all have their place.
Yep, Dan plays one of the family members, don't you, Dan?
I do.
Yeah, and I can't wait for people to see where these people end up because the Master's around, and he's got something that he wants.
Yeah, and that is part of the theme, which is something we discussed for quite a while, John, which was this. If you really look at it, is the first volume where you get to properly play the Master, because you've had the General Marsh storyline, you've then been able to play the Master in Series 4 of Resurrection, but this is him away from outside influence, with working with the Rani and the Black Guardian and everything. This is him at his best. This is the Master, and he's back. And with Man on the Hill, it was the repercussions of what he'd done in the 4th series of Resurrection. Now he's free. He's rebuilding his name back up. He's looking for that power, that influence, the mastery of all. And there is something like, throughout this volume at least, the theme is power grab, or just the feeling of power. Where
and I think it's
football back.
Yeah, it's really nice to have the Master finally, because obviously just after spending so long trying to be good, and weirdly enough, the Master is only back to its own roots because of the Doctor, because of how much doubt the Doctor had in him to be good. He's just thought, well, if you think I'm this, then I'll be exactly what you think I am. It's when I think about it, it's actually quite similar to the role that Loki plays in Loki, where he's like, I'm always destined to be the bad guy, or just like the one who will eventually turn good, but right.
There's a quote about that, isn't there? Where he goes, I'll play my role, or something like that.
Exactly, and I think the Master has the exact same issue, because like Thor and Loki have the same dynamic as Sherlock and Moriarty, and the Doctor and the Master were created with that same concept of having a Moriarty to the Doctor, who will play that role of the villain, and I love that.
Indeed. Well said, John. Well said.
Very well said, yeah.
Thank you.
Other than that, Mastermind Volume 1, the reason why it's 3 episodes is because the Man on the Hill was meant to be the first episode. But so much stuff came up with Mastermind, didn't it? It went back and forth and being like, originally it was a 10-part one-off series. Then it was
it was a 10-part one-off. Then it went to it went to 10 parts, and then it was 6 parts, and then we thought, actually, no, there's a lot more we could explore.
And then it became 2 volumes of 5 episodes. So it was back to 10. But then the schedule, like trying to schedule all the audios already being made, then went down to 1 off to see as a pilot. Then went back up to 4, and then went back to 1, and I think that's where it stayed, with the Man on the Hill, and then everything was received well. I think we were probably already working on Volume 1 anyway, because I was really, because essentially I consider, like, with the Master, he's got 2 series really, hasn't he, already, like 2 eras. You've got the General Marsh era, and then you've got the this new Mastermind era, and I was so happy with how the Man on the Hill turned out.
Yeah, I think I absolutely love I think Eamon is my favorite writer for the Master, and it's why, like, I kind of completely sidetracked with Volume 1, because what I've seen from Volume 2 and beyond is absolutely amazing. And Eamon, I love you.
Cool. I wasn't expecting the kiss to go through.
Eamon has many kisses from me, but yeah, I love.
I've seen videos, because you and him have actually been recording Mastermind together. I've seen the video of you 2 dancing. It looks like you're doing a rain dance.
Yeah, I think I'm beatboxing one of them.
Oh right, it sounded like you're clapping your hands, and he was doing the same. I was like, what is going on? But yes, so Mastermind Volume 1 will be, come on, I've got to get this before I've already run out of time. Mastermind Volume 1 will be coming out on the 7th of May, but then, unlike, it's not going to be coming out weekly this time, like all the other releases, it's actually coming out every half week. So Mastermind Volume 1 will actually be out within a week.
Quite cool. To be honest, I'm really excited to hear people's reactions. I mean, okay, I'll say this. Dan, I absolutely love the cover art, and I got so many messages of like, John with beard. You know, it's very funny, because lots of people were like, you've got a beard. Wow, you know, facial hair suddenly just appeared, man. You know, I mean, in real life, I'm still on my way there, but honestly,
Off there, it's like, fair enough, but no one's ever had the reaction why I gave you a goatee for the first one.
Yeah.
actually, yeah, thinking about it. Actually, well, I've got a couple messages from Spoon, but
Oh
yeah.
But yeah, like that's the thing with Dan's cover arts. The ones that he's made are so amazing.
I absolutely love your work, Dan.
Thank you all very much.
It is what you might call award-winning work.
Award-winning, and it is like, not to toot your horn too much, but I think you are a master.
Oh,
this volume is truly a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mind you, I was going to try and make another pun with "mind you," and then I was like, "Well, I've already said mind. I can't say mastermind." So never
Wait,
mind.
mastermind you. Okay. We got it.
You've got to add that comma.
Master, mind you.
Mind you. It sounds like a question.
Master, mind your business.
Maybe like,
Yes.
I feel like we're just creating titles. Amy's going to listen to this and be like, "Oh, that's the story."
Mastermind Volume 26, question mark. It's just called question mark.
Yeah, coming the 13th of May, 2064.
Oh.
And you're just a brittled old man by that point.
Won't even need to do any cover arts at that point. I'll just look the part.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you very much, John, for the for being available to talk about Mastermind. And
no worries. I love it.
and we shall return to future Chadders and Daniel.
I love you, future Chadders. Mwah. And Daniel. Mwah.
Overton Audios presents.
Hello?
Hello.
Who are you?
My name? It's Joshua.
I've made a huge mistake. If you hear this, heed this warning. You cannot trust him. He is here for blood.
Let's go there until the salvation is ready. Then he can bear witness to my ascension.
Nice little chase through the vortex really provided some nice excitement. Now, the chase is up.
They're firing at us!
Thank you, Nico. I am quite aware.
Cavox.
I thought you said you shut it down.
But it's a living being, Mr. Cavox. He's a living thing.
On the count of 5. 1.
We are tearing apart.
2. 3.
Preparing for dematerialization.
4, 5. Dematerialize. To the ocean you go, my trusty side hand. Have you ever heard of the Salvation, Mr. Tabbert? It's a legendary device said to be able to remove entire planets from existence. Just erase them completely.
Then why is it called Salvation?
A cruel joke, I believe. I love a cruel joke.
Mastermind Volume 2, coming the 1st of January 2023 at 12 p.m. And welcome back. That was a very good trailer. I very much enjoyed it.
Very nice trailer, yes.
So obviously by the time this has come out, which is podcast is coming out on the 6th of January, the first 2 episodes will already be out. So technically we can already talk about quite a bit of it. Half the volume is already out. So
yeah.
By this point, episode 1 would have come out with Salvation of Carpathia.
Yeah.
And then episode 2 would have come out 2 days ago with the knowledge of life. So episode 1, about Carpathia, is set during Carpathia's destruction.
Yes.
Which is for continuity's sake, links into the Northern Doctor era with NTC Pictures, when the Phantom is taken from its place of rest and the planet then destabilizes. So it's set during the time of the planet
falling apart, and the Master is using these two people who are played by Jack Reeves and Abby Louise to try and use them for a little cunning plan, which is to do with this thing called the Salvation.
Yeah.
What gave you the idea for the Master tracking down this thing called the Salvation? And because the whole volume links around this idea that he needs something to do with the Salvation.
See, I think the original plan that I sent you, the entire volume was going to be set on Carpathia.
Yeah.
And I think the Salvation was somewhere on Carpathia and he was hunting that down. But I created the plan for it, and I then realized that I kind of wanted to put them in different scenarios, and I had ideas for the episodes 3 and episode 2 and stuff like that. And so I just I shortened what I was going to do down to episode 1 and took the Salvation off of Carpathia.
Yeah.
It's very much, I write the Master very much based on the War Master stuff. I'm a big fan of the War Master stuff, and so it's that kind of every volume of the War Master, he's after something in particular. There's always an end goal that he sets out to retrieve, a weapon or an experiment or something, and so I wanted to kind of replicate the vibe of that. And so the Salvation Salvation's very much based off of something that I could see being in a War Master volume.
Yeah. I really like the idea as well, that because with episode 1 it kicks off almost immediately with the Master being there. Whereas obviously he goes through that story. It's a planet on the brink of destruction, and he uses the panic of people, the panic terror to his advantage to get what he wants. Whereas in episode 2, obviously that's come out, he's actually not in it till the final 3 pages.
Yeah, no, I very much wanted a Master light story where you can see the lead up to what to him coming in. Once again, based on War Master. If you ever wonder how my kind of inspiration behind anything Master is, it's the War Master. Stuff like the Master of Callus, which is I think my favorite, well, probably my favorite Big Finish release ever, is he's really not in the first episode of that.
Well, I don't remember him being in it all that much anyway.
Yeah, he comes in at the end of episode 1, I think, and he's in there for a decent amount of episodes 2 and 4. He's not really in there for episode 3, and so and stuff like the Skyman, he's very much on the back burner for that. And I kind of wanted a story that you have more of an insight into the world, the world and the people and the characters' lives.
When I was
comes in.
Also, when I was editing the Knowledge of Life, it's one of my favorite episodes of Mastermind so far, anyway.
Oh,
because you've characterized the characters of Tabert and Evie really well, as well as that, giving a personality without giving him any emotions to Knowledge. As he discovers the meaning of life, you also have parallel with it.
Yeah,
Tabert and Evie's history.
Yeah,
which was never truly explored between the two of them. They're aware that there's something, they missed a trick there. There was something in their life that they could have done but sadly missed. They've had a chance to rekindle on that as well, whilst using the Knowledge Project, I suppose. I don't think it was called the Knowledge Project, but we'll just call it that for that reason, in order to connect them. And it's been a very nice story where you're kind of thinking that this is actually, for half the time, you're thinking it as this is just a nice story of two people creating life together whilst talking about their relationship between one another and how things could have ended up differently whilst technically creating life together. It's a nice kind of sweet story, which of course then is completely takes a U-turn at the end. Because obviously the Master's just like, oh, hiya. The Master's only contribution to the story is showing up and getting what he needs.
Yeah.
That's literally it. Other than
Yeah,
that,
there's no
it's
plan. He literally he has a very easy time this episode.
yeah, that's it. And then he just shows up at it and goes, "Oh, have you got that? Perfect." But it's this I like the idea of, because as well as that, there's a little thing which which of course I'll bring up now because it has happened before, which is you've got a little what I'm calling a saga going on with knowledge at the moment, haven't you?
Yeah, no, I like knowledge, and so
Well, knowledge appeared in Crimson Hunter Volume 3 as a fully fledged. He
Yeah.
was being kept in the Torchwood archive, and
Yeah.
had knowledge of Torchwood was here. This is his creation, and he's
Yeah.
he's been taken off by the Master.
yeah,
And we know he ends up in the Tortured Archive, but it's a nice story because you kind of wanted to, without getting too much into it, there is a whole storyline, the whole arc with knowledge that does lead back into the threads of Mastermind down the line, but there's still so much to go through, so much for that character to experience,
yeah.
And that's what's interesting. If you look at it, if you actually watch the stories in order, it will hopefully all come together really nicely. But that's what I'm really interested in.
Yeah, no, I
See
wanted
what's
to
on there.
create a character kind of like River Song, which that where you kind of the release order isn't the order of his life.
Yeah.
And so by the time everything's done, you can go back and you can watch it all through and it all makes sense and it all ties into one another.
Indeed, and the next 2 episodes, because by this point I probably would have put an Instagram post out or something about the next episode. The next episode is called "The Axeman of New Orleans." That's episode 3.
Oh hell yeah, I love that one.
That one was very interesting to make, because you had to write the largest cast possible, didn't you?
Oh yes, no, it's based off true events. So
yes, I know.
I
that
wanted
much.
to get as much historical accuracy in, which meant lots of victims.
Yep, I'm looking at the cast list now, going, "Oh my goodness!"
Yeah, because I found that
yeah.
on BuzzFeed Unsolved. I found it's based off a real crime from the 1920s that I saw on BuzzFeed Unsolved once, and I thought that would be cool. That would be really cool, and so.
Yeah, but we won't go too much into that. What I will say, and I think we've talked about it before, the Christmas special one that we talked about last month, but
yeah,
the final episode of Volume 2 is a prequel to the Doctor Who Expanded Multiverse, otherwise known as DWEM or DWEM, the 60th anniversary celebration special.
Yeah, it's going to tie into the Last Universe.
Yes, and there is something there as well which will explain the whole thing, at least well, not the whole thing, because you want to be able to watch the 60th and have some mystery, but it will be the first release that will link into the Last Universe. And of course, I think we're going to make just for ease of everyone who's listening, I think we're going to make a playlist or something, and maybe
we will,
of the stories in order, so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. But yeah, this is also the first step towards that, which is a really nice crossover that you and Aidan on the side have been working on.
Yeah,
and other than that, there's not really much else we could say about Mastermind other than it's his pursuit for power, like we talked about with Volume 1.
Yeah.
Like he feels powerless because of everything that's happened as General Marsh, and then with the Cravat Doctor, he's still in that pursuit for power, which is why he's after this thing called the Salvation.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited for everyone to hear it, and obviously we'll be reading the comments for the February podcast anyway. So I suppose we'll get to talk about it a little bit more then as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Shall we return to the podcast? I think we've got a Q&A next, haven't we?
I think we have got a Q&A, and it's the Q&A next. Yes.
Yes.
I remember what order everything goes in.
Yes, indeed, it's a bit difficult. Yes, let's go back in time to listen to the Q&A. And welcome back to the podcast. That was a very nice trip down memory lane, wasn't it, sweet Daniel?
Indeed. Just a reminder of John's mania.
Oh yeah, that's still not changed, not really.
No,
But,
time has not helped with that.
oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, John, please change.
Oh dear, oh dear. But so we're not going to be reading some comments, which is the usual here at the Overton Audios podcast.
Yep.
However, I did want to preface by saying, because I'll be reading some of the comments for, obviously, we talked about this in a couple of podcasts ago, Shimmer Teleporter for Hire, which was coming out on the Red Matter Productions YouTube channel. But I wanted to address something about the Shimmer series before I continued with the comments reading. Essentially, what's happened is we released, I believe, the first 5 episodes onto the Red Matter Productions YouTube channel. The first 5 episodes with a couple of minisodes, so that was maybe, I think that would have been 8 out of the 12 overall releases. And then I got a message from the producer who made it previously and had shelved the project permanently. He has seen the comments and the interaction on Shimmer Teleporter for Hire whilst it's been coming out, and we've had a discussion about it. And he has asked that all of the episodes be taken off of YouTube. He asked them to be taken off YouTube because, despite enjoying the feedback and the enjoyment of others enjoying it, he's decided that he wants to put it back into production and finish it, and add more to it, which is absolutely, it's his story. He made the world, everything like that. So they are no longer on the Red Matter Productions YouTube channel. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent because I've always tried to be on this podcast. I've always wanted to be transparent. And of course, Daniel, you can feel free to chime in whenever you like about this. I'd be lying if I said that this wasn't incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
The project, we wrapped this original project back in 2018. It spent 2 years editing and then paused, and then I'm told it's shelved. We left it 7 years before releasing it. We did everything possible to make sure we were completely safe in releasing it.
Yeah.
And that we weren't hurting anybody by releasing it or anything like that. And then this has happened. And I've had to explain that to the fans who we have on a Discord server that comes with our Patreon. I don't think I mentioned the Patreon enough. We have a Patreon, by the way. But I mentioned this on that server because that's where we were sharing it as well. I was amazed by the viewership we got when we released the main series trailer. That got 500 views in about 2 days. And considering it's an original project as well,
that was pretty good.
It's amazing. And the first episode got 300 views. Episode 4 also got that as well. And it was just going up and up. And it was going really, really well. And then it's just been stopped, and I don't want to dwell on it too much because this happened around a month and a bit ago, really, just after we recorded the last podcast. I'm feeling closure from the fact that I know people saw it.
Yeah, and people actually really enjoyed the project as well.
Exactly. However, we were able to have it that it's in a way still accessible for people.
Mm-hmm.
While it's not available publicly, to if you Google it, it won't come up. We have made an unlisted playlist of the episodes, which are also unlisted and available via a link. If you wish to see it, get access to the Discord server. but it is out there and available for those who might want to see it. Obviously, I'm aware that people might, share links regardless. If you want to see it, then it'll be on that Discord server, which you get access to when you sign up to the Patreon. So I just want to put that out there, that it is still available. It's all up there in one go. You're not going to have to wait for it. You'd get all access to all 12 parts. That being obviously seven episodes or shorts as they were referenced as, and 5 one shots / minisodes type thing. But no, sorry, I know that was a long-winded way of saying that, but no, it's something that I'm not especially happy with. I know obviously Dan, you never actually really got to see the series properly until very, very recently.
Yeah, you sent me the link to the series recently, and like I finally was able to see it. It's like there's so many things with that that's I was very happy with. That I was very gutted that I never got to see the live day, especially some VFX stuff I did. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm I'm heartbroken in my own ways. I know you're heartbroken in your infinite amount of ways as well. I know like some other people are upset because people who've acted and done other things for the series really want to see this come to light, just be able to get the chance to show it off and all the work they did for it. And ultimately, I understand as well. Now I feel like it was a waste of time potentially.
Mm.
But yeah, I'm not gonna go into it too much. But I'm glad there is a way for people to go see it, and I think they should go see it.
Indeed, indeed. So I have got some of the comments that were written on those on some of those videos, um, but I've only got them in email form. So I'm going to read them off of the emails I got when they were coming through as comments, just so people can still have their comments read, because I feel like that was fair after we advertised it. So I'm going to start with the Shimmer teaser that was called Fired teaser, and that was from MMS 96155, who said cannot wait. And then we have a comment from Jeevan John on the same video who said looks exciting, I cannot wait. We then have a comment from Just MMS, so they've changed their name to Just MMS now. Wow, thrilling. And that this was on the main series trailer. And they said, this looks and has the edge of a Channel 4 series online. I can't wait to see the series. And I hadn't really thought of that, but it kind of does. You can like it does have a sort of Channel 5 after 9 p.m. kind of youth vibe, don't you think?
Yeah, it has that sort of like I can imagine something like this on like Channel 5 or maybe potentially BBC Three back in the day, BBC Three sort of like tried their hand at different sort of fictionalized programming and
Mm.
tried to kickstart some careers that way. It felt like something along those reins. If you know what I mean, sir?
Yeah, yeah, I get you. So we then have another comment on the main series trailer of someone going, the trailer music definitely works with the scenes that are being shown. And yeah, that song was one I remember finding that all those years ago. It was a song by Royal Blood called Figure It Out.
Mm.
The way that it had like a really big guitar solo in the middle was perfect for going through a compilation for the trailer.
Yeah.
I remember that. I'm glad that someone recognized it. But moving on to episode 1 of Shimmer Teleporter for Hire, with the episode was called Sneezes. From Just MMS said, I really like this. It definitely had that modern Channel 4 show, kind of more adult orientated, like Misfits level to it. It was really good. My only gripe I had was some of the shots felt like they'd held on a couple of seconds longer than they should have. But apart from that, some good stuff here. And then we have another comment on episode 1 from someone called Corpse in Here, who said, these were really fun. Could you please link the next episode in the current episode's description? It would be easier to watch the series this way. I remember commenting back to that and saying that, and just sending the link to the playlist. But I obviously didn't get an email with what I wrote. So, so that is what I said. But obviously, I think that's a bit fruitless now. So that was all the comments that we had got on Shimmer before it all went down, sadly.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to stuff that had come out on Overton Audios, and we start with Doctor Who, Shards of Life 1, Home After Home. We have a comment here from Just MMS who says, can we just have Dom narrate everything? and this was obviously a Frontier Doctor short, kind of like a short trip style
Yeah.
story. But it was him adapting some old stories that he had that he never really got to see the light of day on. So he's written these little things called Shards of Life, which are for little things in Frontier's life when he's by himself. And this also starred Josh Carr from the Who Knew podcast.
Ooh.
Of which he commented, saying, "A cracking listen. What a lovely thing to be a part of. Thank you so much for having me. P.S. For anyone who wants to listen to my podcast, I hope I'm a little bit better than Max Courage." I don't know if you've heard Shards of Life, Dan, but he plays a podcast, one of those annoying TikTok.
Yeah, I think
podcasters.
I've listened to it. Yeah,
Yeah. You know those ones who just walk up to you with a tiny little square microphone with a bit of like the fluffy microphone thing on top, and just
Yeah.
go, "What song are you listening to right now?" And then you're like, "What?" And then they stop you in the street. He's going to be a caricature of that. And that,
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, I just, you see, we have some of the people like that around my local town, and every time I try hide my face, just don't, not today, not today.
have they
I,
walked up, have they walked up to you and tried to engage with
No,
you?
no, no, because I've been like in like some coffee shops and places like that where there's been people like that coming around to strangers, and I purposely put my hood up, just be like, "Don't talk to me. I am not in the mood for this right now."
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. I'll be completely honest with you. I basically would have been like like Dom if they were to try to talk to me in that moment.
I sometimes wonder what I'd do in the moment. Like I think about what I would like to do, but the problem is I'd have to try and predict it happening. I'd love to just make a really weird, goofy noise and run away.
Yeah.
Hey, what song are you listening to? And then run away.
Yeah, but like what he was doing, he was like basically looking up, and I was like, "Oh, what are you ordering today?" And then some sort of inappropriate comment attached to that. He's very clearly as well knowing people, and I think towards the end of it, he was just getting too evasive and had to be asked to leave.
Yeah, he's
So
trying to get reactions. That's all he's trying to do.
yeah, so I'm glad he didn't get to me, and I'm glad he was just kicked out because people like that are generally people who take a certain part of me that I just don't want to want to give reactions to.
No, no, no,
Yeah,
indeed. So
not worth it. So when I heard this from Dom, I'm just sort of like, this is probably the most relatable I think the Doctor's ever been.
I'm surprised it's not happened on the show yet. Like, obviously, because we won't delve into the current series of Who. We'll leave it until it's finished. But the way that's going at the moment, it's going into very topical things for the world today. So I'm surprised we've not had something where a TikToker's run up to, like, I don't know, Belinda or Ruby or the Doctor and just asked a question. I'm surprised that's not part of the social media campaign. They could
Yeah,
have just had it
exactly.
where they're running in the middle of an adventure and get stopped. That would have been great.
Yeah, like it doesn't even have to be part of the plot. It could even be like a plot inconvenience where they're probably trying to chase down an alien or something,
Well,
and
yeah,
just
it could just be this is what they're doing at the moment before the series starts.
yeah,
A bit like what they did, a bit like not. I know it's not a one-to-one comparison, but you know how when you saw the Doctor and Martha and Blink and they're mid-adventure, but you don't know what's going on. It could just be like that, except instead of being stopped by Sally Sparrow, they're being stopped by a TikToker. But no, that could work. That could work.
yes.
So the next comment is from Greatjuice 10. And they said, honestly, I've been loving all of Frontier's adventures so far, but I think this one may be my favorite out of the three you have released. And yes, indeed, we are working on more Frontier stuff. So far, these three that have come out have all been written by Dom. Dom's been having a lot of fun writing for the Frontier Doctor. And next volume, we get a nice, well, I'd say we get a nice variety of writers. It's just me and Dom. We were, oh God, I'll leave it until that podcast segment to explain the hell that has been trying to get that recorded. But, right. So anyway, that one's done. Shall we, we should probably hear what you have to say, Dan,
yeah.
about Supers.
Yes, because Super Volume 3 recently came out, and let's go through the
Finally, that's another one that's finally come out.
Yes, it's the third volumes, isn't it?
It really is.
Right. So we have Michael Cox for episode 1, which is called Company Policy.
Yeah.
We have Michael Cox saying Mr. Stevenson is a super rotter. But seriously, the story continues, and Stevenson continues to try to pull the strings. I like the performance of Abby and Chelsea. They really bring out the relationship of the two characters.
Indeed.
Quite. And move on to episode 2, 5 years later.
Oh.
And Michael Cox also says, another excellent episode, a number of revelations, and each of them raising questions. The relationship between the company and Lortus?
Lortus, yes.
Yeah. The role of Alex and the intentions of the planner.
Yes, indeed. It's all coming together.
Indeed, sir, indeed. And then we have episode 3, The Eclipse.
Oh,
The Eclipse.
yes.
We'll start with Michael Cox. We have, he says, another great episode in which we discover more about the origins of the supers and extent of their powers.
Indeed. More's being learned.
And then we have a comment from it's called Ratty713. It says, "This is brilliant. Is there earlier series of this audio drama?" And you said yes, there is.
Yeah, in a nutshell, I just explained how we've done it and done it a little bit backwards, but I sent over the playlist anyway.
Yeah, which is available there.
Yes.
And then we have Neil Kendrick 7976 is like Heroes for Today and liking this a lot, which you said before Heroes was like a massive inspiration for you. So
massive inspiration.
So the fact that it's being picked up here, I think, says a lot as well.
Yeah, either that or I've copied it. I don't know, but I like to think people are just seeing the. I'm capturing the spirit of it.
I think that's the spirit of Heroes. Yeah,
indeed.
And we have episode 4, which is the final stand. We have Michael Cox again saying, well, surprises galore. Can we take any more twists in the tale? Certainly. Superb drama. And then we have Stooky severely thing. 6-1.
Stooky's everything.
Dookie's everything. I'm my dyslexia butchered.
Oh no, you're absolutely fine.
I thought it was Stookie Severy.
Yeah, I can see how. Yeah,
Stookie everything. Phenomenal work, everyone. Absolutely love Supers. That's great.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, we do have the 4th volume now recorded, but it won't be a Mastermind Volume 3 situation. We have got Supers Volume 4 in a date to come out, which will likely be next year, but just for the sake of trying to get a lot of other things out before we have our big 10-year year.
Yeah, 10-year anniversary next year.
Indeed, exactly. But yes, so looking to the future, shall we have a little listen to the segment I recorded with John talking about Mastermind Volume 3?
Yes, we shall, sir. Roll it!
Overton Audios presents.
Where am I? What's happened? Earth? How is this possible? I destroyed it. Unless this is... I'm sorry, but can you tell me what the day is?
Absolutely, sir. It's Tuesday, August 14th.
Very good, very good. What might be the year?
Well, it's 2018, mate.
It is. It's just what I thought. The year without the Doctor. I do love it when they scream.
And I'm with a man. He calls himself the Doctor, but I don't think he is.
I, my boy, am the Master.
The Master? You know him? Sure I do.
Everybody knows him.
He tried to kill Nathan and I.
Why are we up here so late, Adrian Talbot?
We are here to see the sunset.
Oh, come on. That's what I wanted to do.
If he is involved with the current situation, then we all need to call in help.
Mastermind Volume 3, starting the 12th of April 2025 at 12 p.m. And welcome back to the podcast, and I'm joined by John N. Harper. Hello, sir.
Hello there, sir. How are you?
I am doing well, sir. I am doing well. Now, this podcast segment is a segment that I've had on the back burner for quite a while now.
Yeah, it's been 400 years. Hasn't it, sir?
It has been.
Yeah, it's been a very long time. We recorded it, well, I don't remember precisely when I recorded it, but at some point in 2022, when I was about 18 years old. Now I'm 21. 21 now. 3 years in the making.
Well, the one thing that, because we were meant to record this segment quite a while ago.
Yeah.
And when we forgot to, we have seen that Lewis Warhouse. Hello, Lewis Warhouse. He posted something. He posted something on Instagram, didn't he? And he was recording for Paternoster Gang Volume 2, but mentioned that Henry would be coming back sooner in Mastermind Volume 3, which he claimed. Which, when I say he claimed, I do confirm as truth. He recorded back in January 2022. So that's what reminded us to do it. But ultimately, where did this all begin and why? So we had made The Man on the Hill. And we'd done that a lot earlier in the year. And that came out, I want to say, October 2021.
Yeah.
And then we were
been around for a while.
Yeah, because originally Mastermind, we were originally going to do The Man. It was going to be a 4-episode volume. The Man on the Hill was episode 1. Then we were going to have it Universe's End, and then it was Old MacDonald and Bodies in the Water, which to this day is one of my favorite audios that we've produced. I just love the dark gothic nature of that loose 2-parter. And that, but obviously there were some delays with getting the whole volume done, and essentially by the end of 2021, we had only released 1 episode of Mastermind, but 4 volumes had been written. But Mastermind started out as very much something that you wanted to do originally. It was very much something that you asked for the Mastermind volume to be made. You were listening to a lot of War Master, I think, at the time, and obviously.
The thing is, oh, sorry.
Carry on.
With General Marsh, he's obviously like an anti-hero kind of. He has the anti-hero kind of vibe, but he's not really like the Master, if you know what I mean. He's a version of the Master who has learned to settle down. Is no longer as angry. Ironically, when the Doctor isn't there,
essentially General Marsh is a Time Lord General with anger issues.
Oh yeah, takes after me. Constant rage always. But no, with General Marsh, he's just quite misunderstood. He literally has a son, and the Doctor turns up, and then his son ends up dead. So it makes him go off again. And I said it, I think, in the War Games Hartnell podcast, Shopping Hartnell podcast, which you can get on Overton Audios if you're wondering. I said it there. Whether it's out or not by the time this goes out, I'm not sure. But I did say that the Master kind of acts in cycles, and it's usually to do with the presence of the Doctor, because of their own ego and I guess fragile. To be their own fragile ego. The Master is a very, very vulnerable character, because it doesn't take much to set him off.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I identify with the Master. Not so much the killing people part, as some people would like.
I hope not.
The killing people part is not where I relate with the Master, but the part that I do recognize of the Master is the fact that it doesn't take much for him to go completely ballistic. And I think that's something that is identifiable with a lot of people. If you ever had anger issues, when I was a kid, I had anger issues. And it's things like that. If you ever had like problems with like, mental health and stuff like that, the Master is a character who suffers probably from mental health issues, but doesn't usually take the right thing. Like he doesn't take the right option to deal with those issues. And I think that's the beauty is that both the Doctor and the Master, I think, go through a lot of trauma and have a lot of problems. And I think both of them are examples of what to do and not to do. And sometimes it's, it's sometimes the Doctor who does the wrong
They're
thing.
both a bit of a yin and the yang in a way. They both have the ability to be dark and very uncompassionate. But yet there are times where the Master can also find himself having moments of, well, what he would consider weakness, where he would let someone go. And it's those moments that make the character so important as well. The moments where he doesn't do what you think he's going to do. And Volume 3 of Mastermind doesn't... Well, I mean, it's just... I feel like Mastermind Volume 3 is the most mastery that we've seen you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is listening back to the trailer recently, as you showed me, it definitely reminded me of things that I was going for with the character because, it's been a long time. And I remember like the kind of energy and the vibe that I wanted to take that particular character down.
Yeah.
Would I do things differently now? Probably, because, as you evolve as a person. But it's the kind of thing that's like, this is it's a nice little snapshot of how I thought of character building and acting at the time. And here we are 3 years later, and I've got a very, very different perspective, and I'd have a very, very different take on how I play most of the characters that I've ever played. But the thing is that snapshot of how I like looked at the dynamic of the characters, I think is the most. I think I'm filled with a lot of joy when I look back on it because that is the most mastery we've got, and it is heavily based on Derek Jacobi's Master. And I do love the War Master. I love it so much. I love like the cadence that Derek Jacobi has in all of those volumes, and you can definitely tell that where it's taken from. And I think especially when you're like starting out with trying to do acting, because I think I spoke like last time when I hosted the podcast with you, is about how subtlety was my issue, and the thing is that this is me trying to kind of hone in a little bit more, but I don't know if I'm quite there.
I do think that subtlety is present in this because there has been one theme with this Master that we spoke about as wanting to be the underlying theme for him that I've not seen too many people pick up on, but when I point it out, it becomes very obvious, and that's kind of how subtlety sometimes works. The subtlety I've always noticed with this Master is he is the Master who lost everything and desperately wants it all back. He's the one who wants that power back.
And it's a weird...
And that's something that we did with Volume 1. With Volume 1, all of the stories in that are actually, and not that it makes them bad. I think that they're all brilliant in their own ways. But with Volume 1, the Master is recovering from basically being General Marsh and is doing things that are a little bit lower tier for him. But that's because it's taken a while since, he's done anything such high scale. Like we have the Man on the Hill, him escaping, and then we have him meeting his previous self and trying to change the past so that he doesn't have to deal with the ramifications of of his choices and what has happened around him. And then eventually, we end up finding him in the middle of well, not in the middle of, but during World War One in Scotland, doing an experiment. And all of those things, including and especially with Volume 2, that's something that when I spoke to Emon about the writing of Volumes 2 until 4, was the theme is that the Master wants power back. He feels like he's given up everything. All of the power influences he's had, he feels like he's given up on, and they've been evolving without him, and he's got to step back onto the chessboard, so to speak. He's got to be back in the playing field, and he's got to get reacquainted with things. And in a way, he's not got the patience for it at all. And that's what Volume 2 definitely shows, because at the end of Volume 2 he blows up the Earth and then creates a singularity that creates the Singularity Saga. That's what came out around the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Now, with Volume 3 set immediately after the Singularity Saga, he is back to where he started. He's not got his TARDIS. He's in the middle of Earth. People know who he is, and he doesn't know what to do. And then it's only in those pre-titles, as you can hear in the trailer, that he then realizes that he's in that very special year, 2018, otherwise known as the year without the Doctor. And then he can start to meddle again. He can start to create a plan, of which he does, as you can see from the amount of characters who are in it. We've got basically companions returning, old companions of the Doctor, not just the Cravat Doctor, but the Irish Doctor as well. We've got Torchwood in it. It's a massive story about all of the Doctor's friends. When on the 1 year where the Doctor was not present, his friends had to stand up. And I almost feel like the Master hates them more for that, because I've always seen, whenever you see the Doctor and the Master talk head to head, they are they are almost like the two best chess players. And it's, for him, I imagine, it's like if the chess pieces talked back. That's what this is like for him.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, is the Master wants control. He is a control freak. He has narcissistic he has narcissistic qualities to him. He is a narcissist, and the Master is. Because, like you said, that's a very good analogy. Like the whole thing of, he is the chess master. He does not want the chess pieces to talk back to him, in the sense of that, he's got all these companions of the Doctor. He's the one who likes to make sure they have all their place, but he's the one who is currently being toyed with, and that makes him angry. And that makes him dangerous.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Again, I refer to the scene in Doctor Who Series 9 with Missy and Clara at that little coffee table abroad. And she says, "You see that couple with the dog? You're the puppy." Because she doesn't, she or they, the Master / Missy, they see it as the Doctor and the Master are the only ones who matter. Everyone else is inconsequential. They can be like we were saying, they can be chess pieces manipulated in the game, and that's what I think makes his volume so special. Is the Master really at first glides through it all, like he doesn't care. Like it is literally child's play to him. Everyone is so easily manipulated in the beginning, and then in the end, there's all this timey-wimey stuff with a future version of Julia and a future version of Devlin appearing, and it's all coming together in this one big loop in the finale. And as you can see from the trailer, and obviously at this point when we're recording this segment, the volume would have already come out. We see evil alternate versions of characters as well. In fact, at one point, there's two Masters in the room, two versions of you.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was funny.
I love that bit, because you're getting cornered, and everyone's like, "We've beaten you, Master." Then the liftings, and you walk out going, "Hello," and everyone's like, "Oh," and then the finale happens, and everyone's like, "Oh," and it was just it was a really good opportunity to just sort of do a massive, big scale story and have everyone in it. It's one of those very special volumes that when we get people together, you don't want it to feel wasted. You want it to feel worth it, and having that large cast, it definitely felt worth it. But I did want to talk about actually the recording of Mastermind Volume 3, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
So at this point in time, around the end of 2021, you were wanting to take a break from audio dramas and voice acting, and you didn't know how long for, but we were obviously planning volumes ahead and stuff like that. And it was only when we came to recording, I think you ended up recording your lines across an 8-month period.
I think so, yeah. I think I recorded the first few, and then I got the rest of them done 6 months down the line, and then there was probably like where I had to do.
It was you and Eamon on a like a Zoom call in the end, because
Oh wait, yeah, I remember.
I've got footage of that you filmed of both of you doing like I don't know what you were, I have no idea. You were dancing but doing like some sort of like clapping chant. And
I remember that.
And Abby Louise edited this volume.
Mm.
And she hated the way you ate, because you ate crisps into the microphone between takes.
I did.
But at the same time, you were fully expecting me to have been the one who was editing it.
That's the only reason why I did it. I'm not gonna lie, because the thing is, I need to say for anyone listening to this, whether you're another fan creator or anything, I won't be doing that. The only reason I was doing that is because I know Chadders so well.
Yeah.
I wouldn't just give you a recording where I eat crisps into the microphone. I need to make that clear. Like, I wouldn't just do that.
No, it's one of those things where we've known each other for so long. I mean, I think we start. I'm trying to think. Start talking properly in 2018. So that's nearly 7 years. It's 7 years, isn't it?
Yeah, 7 years.
Was it February 2018?
I would have contacted you. Like, I just commented on your channel back in the days when, like, we
It was before Overton Audios. That's when the YouTube channel used to be called Doctor Who Fan Series.
Yeah, or Resurrection even. It might just been called Resurrection.
No, that's true. I can't.
And
remember
I just commented it. Yeah,
well,
I just commented on one of the videos in December.
You commented, and I didn't see. I didn't see that you'd commented for months.
Yeah. And then you were like, "Hello, John," and I was like, "Hello," and then we went on Skype. Do you remember? That's shut down this May.
Yeah. Skype's gonna be gone soon. God,
yeah, and that's what we did. That's how we talked to each other when we first.
It must have been February then, because after we talked back and forth, because you were having issues with your series, we ended up helping each other out to get our series complete, and that only really kicked off in April or May. So it must have been around that sort of time. Wow. But yeah, we're recording this segment in March 2025. So it has been 7 years now.
Mm.
I'm 30 in 2 weeks.
I'm 22 this year.
And if people do the maths going backwards, they'll know how old we were when we started talking.
Yeah, I'll also preface to everyone listening is that for a long time when I started wanting to make content, I lied to everyone about my age. So
yes, you did.
I either didn't state it or I said, "Yeah, I'm 18."
The thing is, you go back and listen to those old audios. No one knew. And because I don't think I ever even really saw you visually, apart from some of your photos as the master. But you did not look the age you were. It was just a very crazy moment. And I was like, ah! And the moment I found out.
I do apologize for that. The thing is that when it comes to it, I seem to have a very weird. People have very weird perceptions of my age, because I had a habit of looking a lot older when I was younger. But then recently, I've been having people come up to me saying I look between the ages of 17 and 19, and I'm like, what? Like, you're stealing from everyone
youth.
thinking I'm stealing the youth I never had.
or you're just Benjamin Button. You're going backwards.
Yeah. I'm actually going backwards. So as the years go on, like when I'm 30, I'll look 15. That's the truth. Which sounds a bit dodgy saying it out loud. Let's move on.
So anyway, as I've said very openly in the Overton Audios podcast before, we recorded volumes 2 to 4, and this is only volume 3. This is only another part in the long saga that is about your master. So by the time that volume 4 comes out, which will probably be next year, that'll be 4 years since recording.
Yeah,
and it's also the 10-year anniversary of Overton Audios.
Oh God, because you started in 2016, I started in 2018.
Coming up to 10 years for you now. You're on your 7th year now.
I'm on my 7th year of. Well, to be fair, I did take 3 years to 2.5 years off.
Yeah,
But yeah.
yeah, but we still say happy 60th Doctor Who, even though they took a well, they didn't voluntarily take a break, but
They
you know,
didn't voluntarily do it, but they did it. No,
no,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, you started back then. You may have taken a break, but for all intents and purposes, nobody, and I mean this nicely when I say nobody noticed you'd gone, but what I mean is you'd recorded such a backlog. Like whilst you were gone, Doctor Who Divergence came out, and you played a couple of roles in that, and you'd recorded that prior to everything. So that was 2023, though, and then obviously we had you appear in the there was the Sherlock Holmes stuff as well as Inspector Lestrade for Volume 3 of Sherlock Holmes. That came out in late 2022. So people, you recorded so much in the backlog that it looked normal. So you were, I think that was a blessing in disguise, really, because you were able to take a break and nobody noticed that you'd gone anywhere because you had recorded a backlog. So as a result, everyone just thought it was normal. That it was just that anything that you were making personally had taken a pause. So I think it was a bit of a blessing. And then obviously you've what was it? You came back around the 60th sort of time anyway, didn't you? You made a sort of comeback with the 60th. I remember you making quite a few vlogs around that time. And then you've come back and you're working your way through your series at the moment, of which I'm hearing nothing but good things of from people who I both know and don't know. Obviously we had that little call with some friends the other day where you sent, I think, I don't know what you did, but I think you sent a preview to to one of them, and they were like, oh, and you were like, and that was as far as it went, really. But meanwhile,
episode 5 is coming soon. I mean, hopefully episode 5. When is this podcast coming out?
2nd of April. No. No.
Oh,
no. 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 7th of May.
7th of May? Oh, yeah. Episode 5 and 6 should be out by then.
Well,
I can talk about it.
Don't. I don't want to know. I haven't seen it. I don't
yeah,
know.
you haven't seen it yet. Never mind. It's amazing. Actually, no, it's terrible. No, it's amazing.
Well, you definitely. I wonder which one it is. Tune in and find out.
Yay!
But yes, so Mastermind wise, I'm very glad that this is out finally. It stars people who I haven't actually worked with since that was recorded. Emily Meir returns as Amber Moore, who is Nathan Chase's girlfriend.
Oh.
And she was in Uncharted Past and has met the Master before. That was the Irish Master from the Irish Doctor's era. So she's had experience with the Master before. You have Saffron Self as Carly Turner. At the time, this was going to be a big comeback, but then we did the 60th and she was in that. We've obviously got a nice little bit of Henry Woodman. But what's nice about Henry and Julia is this is them between Resurrection Series 1 and 2. So from their perspective, the Cravat Doctor doesn't exist yet. And that's what's interesting for me about this volume. It's set during a time before the Cravat Doctor was born. So it's in a limbo. The Master is there, having just seen the Cravat Doctor and Julia in the Singularity Saga, comes back to Earth and finds her about 3 years prior.
Yeah.
This show's crazy, isn't it? Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Timey-wimey. But
man, I do like it though, because the thing is that I've listened to bits and bobs and I've listened to the 60th stuff and I really, really enjoyed it.
So yeah, it was really interesting to see the other characters and how, you know, during this limbo, because you're seeing Carly Turner 20 years after she, or at this point almost 20 years after she travelled with the Doctors, but I think it's about 15 years. Meanwhile, you've got Julia and Henry who've never travelled with the Cravat Doctor, and from their perspective, he doesn't exist yet. And I love all the timey-wimey elements of this show. It's just crazy. I love the back and forth between them. Like you got Carly Turner who travelled with the Cravat Doctor, and Julia and Henry who haven't yet, and they're the ones before her.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was nice to get some stuff between Carly and Julia because obviously, and this isn't really a spoiler, Julia dies So she never gets to actually. There's no crossover between the two. So this is the first time you get to see them together, and it's really nice to see. I feel nice from a cravat doctor perspective.
Oh yes. I mean, the thing is that with like all of the Overton Audios the Prism universe, I absolutely adore the amount of world building that goes into it. It's something I wish I could attain it. It's so good, and I love world building. I know it's like the standard sci-fi thing, but I love world building to the ends of the earth. You've no idea. And the thing is like like that's what I loved about writing Old MacDonald and stuff like that for Volume 1, is the fact that you've got this family and this whole village of people in Scotland. And I absolutely adore like the atmosphere and living in a town where everyone kind of knows each other. There's a bit of a history to it, and I love things like that. I think that allows you as an actor as well as a writer or anything like that really get sunk into something. If you know that the person you are playing has history, that really helps you kind of be a person. I love history.
Yeah,
indeed.
And I've just really enjoyed, because I've really enjoyed seeing how Mastermind has evolved, and I look forward to seeing where else it evolves as well.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 4 volumes done so far.
Yeah.
Whether we do, I don't know how many we're going to do after that, but whatever comes, who knows? Who knows?
Indeed.
Indeed.
Who?
Ah!
Indeed. So, John, is there anything else you wanted to talk about regarding Mastermind?
Oh, is there anything else I'd like to talk about regarding Mastermind, you ask?
Yes, I do ask if there's anything else you'd like to talk about Mastermind.
Oh, well, in terms of what else I'd like to talk about Mastermind is that I'd like to talk about the fact that the cover arts are really, really good.
Yes, indeed. They were originally, the concepts were made by me in Photoshop, and they were going to be the final ones. I'm glad that they were not.
No.
I turned to our mutual friend Isaac Blake, otherwise known as Motion Idea Films, and he made them. He made them in one evening, because I'd already given. Well, yeah, because I'd given him the Photoshop documents where I'd already mocked it up. He just kind of moved things around and fixed it and lit it properly, and it looks so much better for it. I'm so happy that he's been able to do them. Yeah, I've just been a very, 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 very happy man.
Been a very, very happy boy, have you? Oh, yes. Oh,
indeed.
yes. I'm the master. You will obey me.
Oh.
Oh, yes, you will.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You can't escape me.
So, I think John's turning into the master now. So, perhaps that is where we should say farewell to this segment.
I always dress for the occasion.
Oh, all right then. Well, thank you all for listening to this segment. Thank you again. Thank you again, John.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
And farewell, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
And welcome back to the podcast. And I am still here with sweet, sweet Daniel.
He has not let me leave.
Oh, God, no. So let's start off with what's coming soon. And what's coming soon is the final volume of the Northern Doctor Adventures that links Nathan's 3rd and 4th series of his Doctor. This volume is called Annihilation.
Yeah.
And shall we listen to the trailer, sir?
Of course, sir. Roll the trailer.
Overton Audios presents
You don't have to do that.
What, sir?
That, calling me sir.
Sir, what else am I supposed to call you?
Call me the Doctor.
Are you serious?
Why would I not be?
No one is called the Doctor. Sounds made up.
Well, I suppose everything is made up. Are you all slaves?
Yes, sir. And I think you are now too, sir.
Yes, these slave masters. I need to look into this situation.
What's that sound, sir?
It's the Wern. They're coming. We're being followed. He's coming.
Who's coming?
A Sontaran.
We must protect our Happy Mally, my Pora. Those with us, and those yet to come.
Did the Jolly Una give you more on what's following us?
They have nowhere to run. The glory of capture belongs to Scarlord the Sontaran.
Could it be Nick Hammond?
Once a question is answered, more questions are always raised shortly after.
The Master. I'm glad to meet your acquaintance, Captain.
So this is
our first meeting.
60 seconds until signal completion.
Daleks.
The Daleks are one of the most dangerous species in the entire universe.
You are now a prisoner of the Daleks.
I believe you're right.
Doctor Who, The Northern Doctor Adventures, Annihilation, coming the 24th of May, 2025 at 12 p.m. And that was the trailer. God, it's very action packed. Obviously, you've made the covers very recently, so you know how action packed it's been. We've got we've got Wirren in the first episode. We've got a brand new water based species in it where Sontarans have discovered them. We've got the Master, but the Master before he became Nick Hammond, as in the Northern Doctor's first ever companion in it. So that's another interesting one that I'm really looking forward to exploring. And then we've got the Return of the Cybermen in episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
And
then we have the Daleks.
Yes, which is a Northern Doctor first. Well, besides the Federation War, where it's like, but this is his first Dalek solo story.
Exactly, it's his first solo outing.
Yeah, which is exciting, very exciting.
Well, this is the thing. I always typically find that there are certain doctors in the show as well who are more of a Dalek era or more of a Cyberman era. Because I would argue that with the 13th Doctor, it's more of a Cyberman era.
Yeah, I'm just quite influencing the Cybermen, especially with.
Well, yeah, exactly. The Cybermen appeared in the series. Well, in fairness, they didn't appear until quite late themselves. They appeared in the series 12 finale. That was their first proper appearance in that era.
Yeah.
But because they've been so heavily connected to the Master and the Time Lords, they have more emotional significance. Meanwhile, the Daleks have just been doing what Daleks do best.
Exactly.
And even though they appeared in the Flux, so did the Cybermen. And the Daleks have just kind of been knocked down, they just get back up again and do it again. Whereas the Cybermen have actually changed and been influenced throughout the era.
And had big influence over 13 character-wise as well.
Which is also interesting, because I'd argue that the 12th Doctor is quite Cyberman-orientated as well.
Just because almost every... I think if you count the small cameo they made in Heaven's Hellbent, they've appeared in every single 12th Doctor finale.
Exactly. The 11th Doctor was definitely more Dalek.
100%, yeah.
I think, they put the Cybermen and Daleks literally to rest for 1 year. But Nathan's Doctor, the Northern Doctor, has always been more Cyberman orientated. The first volume we made had Cyber Shades in it. Then we had Earthshock, Telos, Cybermen. And then we've had them return here as well. Meanwhile, the Daleks, I don't think Nathan ever faced the Daleks live action. And this is his first Dalek story, and that was something that we were always very keen to do. But the reason why I find all this stuff interesting is because Nathan is the earliest in the timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the earliest we'll have seen the Daleks in the Prism timeline. For the Master, it's the earliest we've ever seen the Master.
That's true.
And which brings in all these questions. Obviously, I've been thinking a lot about the origins of our universe.
Yeah.
Like, where does the divergent point happen? Who would come before Lee Abbott's Master? Lee Abbott being the voice actor who plays that Master, who plays Nick Hammond and this version of the Master. there is so much to think about there, about where they come from, and do they continue on from the show, or do they have a very rich backstory behind them, you know?
Yeah, because we've always been making so much forwards, never considered like what's before all that there.
Yeah, and I've had some ideas, but they're nothing concrete yet.
Very interesting, sir.
But no, it's been interesting because obviously Cybermen, we've only seen them as Cyber Shades, and they were literally referenced as being left over from the next Doctor. So that's already a direct BBC reference. And then you've got the Telos Cybermen, who have kind of always been kind of, scooting about anyway. I don't know if scooting is the right term, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really interesting to think about those things, and I'm really looking forward to people hearing it. I know that Nathan actually recorded for it at the beginning of 2024, and after this is essentially retiring from playing the Northern Doctor, much like how Pete has retired from being the Young Doctor.
Yeah.
So this is a very special volume, and we wanted to make sure that he had an outing that was worthy of, he's been in this fan film game the same amount of time as me.
Yeah.
It's
So long.
I wanted to make sure that every story was big, and you've got the big three at the end: Master, Cybermen, Daleks. You got the big three in one big volume, so it feels colossal. I hope. But yeah, that trailer will be coming out on the 17th of May. And then weekly episodes, 5 episodes, much like the previous Northern Doctor volumes, weekly from the 24th of May onwards.
Very good, sir.
So I don't think there's anything else for us to say, sir. Then I think we must say farewell to our listeners.
To our faithful listeners, yes.
Indeed. Well, before we say farewell, I would like to say thank you to our Patreons. Anya Patton, Chelsea Lagan, and Delta Effects, otherwise known as Matt Tyrell. And next month, actually, I could probably maybe not next month, it might be the month after. I'm going to be doing a new style with the segments. Going to be testing the waters. I'll tell you more about that when we've said farewell to our listeners.
Okay. Farewell all.
Indeed. Thank you all for listening, everyone. Farewell.
Bye bye all. See you next month.